Hello and welcome to today's Python tutorial for beginners. In today's tutorial, we are going to solve some challenges. So since I'm documenting my Python learning journey, I sometimes visit websites for solving some challenges, and this is a website that I came across yesterday, and I decided to register there and also solve some of their challenges. It's a very neat website called pythonprinciples.com. It says you can upgrade, although it's for free now, so you're eligible for a free upgrade, and then once you upgrade you have access to all these lessons with practices. It's very cool, very nice website. So for now I'm going to go to challenges and see what challenges they have, and they have ordered them based on the difficulty, so from 2 to 10, and let's solve like 7 or 8. So let's start from the beginning. Capital indexes. Now on this side you see the explanation of the challenge, and then here you have the environment to run your code. So we are supposed to write a function named capital indexes. So let me copy the name. The function takes a single parameter, which is a string. Let's define it here with def keyword, the name of the function, parentheses, one parameter, let's just call it x, colons, and enter. And your function should return a list of all the indexes in the string that have capital letters. For example, hello with the capital H, L, and O. These are the indexes or indices of those letters. So 0 for H, 2 for L, and 4 for O. Okay, so the way that we should use it is to go through the whole string one by one. That is using a for loop. I would do that. So for, let's say, I in range, because I'm going to access numbers, a range of what, 5, 6, 7. So the length of x should be my range, and then again colons here. So that is for something between 0 and the length of x. For example, hello has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it would be for I in 0 to 5. That is, I would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. Okay, for I in range, length of x, so I is going to be a number. Now we should check that letter, that is x. So if x, that number, that is that index, so for example index 0, x0, x1, if it is indeed is upper, this is a built-in method in Python. So it checks if that thing, whatever you attach to it, is uppercase or not. So if that letter, that character is uppercase, then we want to add it to a list. We don't have a list yet, so let's create an empty list. Let's just call it up, and we are going to append to up. So up dot append, this is also a list method. And what are we going to append? A number, not the character, but that index. So I, and at the end, get out of the for loop, let's return up. There you see the list. Let's run this, and yes, your solution was correct. You have now completed the challenge. So let's see if they have more examples, more solutions. So you can see that these are different from mine. They have put all the alphabet, the uppercase letters here, and then they have used enumerate, which is not necessary because you're not using yeah, it's not necessary to use enumerate. It is nicer, cleaner, but it might be a bit more advanced for someone who's just started to learn Python. Okay, now let's go to more challenges. Now challenge 1 solved, middle letter. So write a function named mid that takes a string as its parameter. Okay, let's define it here. Mid takes a string, let's just call it x. Now what should it do? Your function should extract and return the middle letter. If there is no middle letter, your function should return the empty string. So for example, mid ABC should return B because B is in the middle. And mid AA should return nothing because there is no letter in the middle, 2 on this side and 2 on this side. Okay, so this means that so if the length of a string is it's actually an odd number, it has a middle letter. Like 3 has this one. If there were 5, still imagine that this was an A, this was a, I don't know, something else. Still B would be in the middle. So if the length is an odd number, it has a middle. If the length is an even number, there is no middle. But how do we know that if x is odd or even, I mean the length of x? Well, we can check by saying if len x, that is the length of the x, if it's modulo or modulus 2 is 0, so if let me explain this one. Imagine you have a number like 8. How many 2's can fit into 8? 4, right? And then will there be any remainder? No. But what about when it's 9? How many 2's can fit in a 9? 4 again, but then there will be 1 remainder. So whenever there is an odd number, they will have 1 remainder when you divide them by, well, modulo 2. And the answer would be 0 if it is an even number. So if the length of x is an even number, we should return nothing. Else it means that if it is an even odd number, so there would be something in the middle. But how do we get it? So imagine this is 3. How do we get to number 2? So 3 by 1.5, 1 by 2 is 1.5. So what does that mean? It means that the index is 1, right? So we should turn that into a whole number. Yeah? Now let's see how can we do that. So first of all, return the middle, that is length of x, whatever it is, divided by 2. And when you divide it by 2, you have like 1.5, for example, or 2.5 or 3.5. But we don't want that, right? We want a whole number, which is, oops, that's why we're going to turn it into an integer. That number, we turn it into an integer, and then this integer is going to be like the index. So let's say x, that is, it will return, so this is a number. So imagine if this is 3, then 3, what is the index? 3 divided by 2 is 1.5, right? And the integer would be 1. Instead of 1.5 would turn into 1. And index of x index of 1 is b. Yeah, makes sense? Yeah. Okay, let's see. Yeah. Okay. Now let's go to another challenge. Online status. So the aim of this challenge is given a dictionary of people's online status to count the number of people who are online. For example, consider the following dictionary. So a dictionary is basically a key value pair. This is the key and this is a value. All the keys in the dictionary are unique, so you can't find any keys which are identical, but values can be similar. So in this case, the number of people online is 2 because 2 people have the value of online. Now we should write this function online count that takes one parameter and that is a dictionary that maps from strings of names to strings online or offline as seen above. It should return a number. Okay, so let's define the function. This is the dictionary. Now, so we should go through the dictionary, and actually we can go through the values in the dictionary. So there is this dictionary method in Python. I have a full dictionary methods for Python, a video actually. So what we can do is to use a for loop to say for I in x dot values. X was a dictionary, remember? So for every item in the values in that dictionary, if that I is equal to online, then something should happen, actually a number. So we need a counter. So let's say number 1. So add to a number, but which number? We don't have a number yet, so let's just set it up here. Number 0. The number is 0. So if you find online in a value, then add to that number. So it would be 1. Another one, it would be 2 or 3. Yeah, and yeah, that would be it, I guess. Yeah, and then at the end you should return number, right? Because we want to see how many people are online. Let's check. Yes, this was correct. So let's see a solution. So here they have used people.items instead of values that I've used. So when you use people.items, it gives back the key value pair. That is, it gives you the key, which is a person here like Alice, and it can have another X and Y, doesn't matter. And the second one would give you the values. And then this, they have gone through the status, that is the values, and then they have, yeah, use a counter. Okay. Now let's get to another one. So solved randomness. Now define a function random number that takes no arguments. Okay, so let me copy the name. The function must generate a random integer between 1 and 100, both inclusive, and return it. Calling the function multiple times should return different numbers. Okay, so to use the random method, we need to import a random module in Python to generate random numbers. Now we need to define a function, which was this. And what we should do is to return a random number. So this is the way you do it. So you say random dot rand int or rand range. They are a bit different. I will talk about the difference. So rand int, and we want it between 1 and 100. Yeah, that should be it. Yeah, okay, and the solution is, yeah, the same. So what was the difference between a rand int and rand range? Well, rand int is the integer, right? It gives you a random number between whatever number you have specified and up to and including this number, the end number. So it will also include 100. But if you say rand range, it will go up to but not including 100. So that's the difference. Also in rand range you can have steps. Well, you can Google rand range for more. Okay, let's get to our next challenge. Type check. Okay, so this is going to be our last challenge for today. A type check. Write a function named only ints that takes two parameters. Your function should return true if both parameters are integers and false otherwise. For example, calling only ints should return true. Yeah, because integers and string should be false. Okay, so let's define the function. And here, okay, so to check the type of something in Python, you use type keyword. So I want to return type of, well, we should have two arguments here, so x and y. So return type x. So if type x equals int and type y equals int again, so this means this should be true. So if this is true, that it will return true, otherwise it will return false. So check for type x. If type x is integer and type y is also integer, then return this. Let's see. And indeed it works. Yeah, so yeah, this is okay for now. We have solved 2, 4, 5 challenges. So we will also go on with others. They are really nice challenges. Anagrams. I actually have a video on an anagram finder in Webster's dictionary. So let's also do this one for the last one. Actually, let's see how this one is. So two strings are anagrams if you make one from the other by rearranging the letters, right? So we should write a function is anagram that takes two strings as its parameters. It should return true if they are anagrams and false otherwise. For example, typhoon and OPython should return true, yeah, but this one should return false. Okay, so let's define our function here. It takes two strings, let's call them x and y. Now, so x and y are strings. How can we compare them? Well, first of all, the thing is, imagine if you have a word like act and cat. They are anagrams, but how do you know? So the thing is, the number should be the same, as well as if I arrange them in an alphabetical order like A, C, T. And if I arrange this one, so A, C, T for act, and for cat, A, C, T again. So I arrange the letters in cat as alphabetical. Now if I compare these two, they should be the same, right? They should be equal. Otherwise it would not be an anagram. Now let's see how we can do this. So first of all, I need to return turn x into a list so that I can order it alphabetically, because we can't do that with strings. Let's just call it x1. So x1 list. So list is a keyword which turns a string into a list. And x, and then let's say y1 equals list y. So we've turned them into a list. Now we should arrange them alphabetically. So how do we do that? x1 sort, it will arrange it alphabetically, and also y1 dot sort. You don't need to return anything when you do this. It will sort them out anyways. You don't need to return them and put them in another variable. Now if these two are similar, so if x1 is equal to y1, then return true, right? Else return false. Yeah, that should work. Let's see. And yes, it does. So let's look at the examples again. And they have these two strings. They sorted string. Oh, they've used sorted. Okay. And yeah, this is the harder solution. So the easy solution is using sorted instead of sort that I used. Okay. So here, yeah, they have used different things. Okay. Because they have counted the numbers, and then they have also kind of compared that. Okay. Yeah, this is the way I did it. It's fine. It worked. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to go to this website and do the challenges. They're really nice, and they give you also hints. And for example, here you have some hints, some explanations. And if you're ever stuck, they have a very nice Discord community you can go to, and you can ask your questions, and there are always people who would be willing to help. So yeah, thank you so much for watching and listening.